Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is little longer as compared to my usual videos, but trust me, this is worth watching because today I'm going to show you everything in detail about how we can draw a beautiful peony flower step by step, including petals, including perspective and everything. And I have covered many videos in the past about multiple flowers, multiple perspective, but I think, in my opinion, peony is the most difficult to draw, not only for the beginners but also for every level of artist. So I try to make it simple for everyone so that even if you are a beginner, you can draw this easily without any reference photo, to be frank. But if you want, you can use a reference photo and then you can divide it into multiple sections to create a beautiful peony flower. So at the end, I'm going to use this line and wash technique to paint everything, petals, including leaves and all. So you can utilize your watercolor knowledge to paint at the end this particular structure, or you can do little bit of watercoloring like I'm doing. This is the easiest technique to paint, and this technique is called line and wash technique, wherein you draw everything and then you can paint it using watercolor. So let's start with today's video. So I'm going to show you some rough structure in this particular paper, and then we are going to repeat the same thing into our main sheet for the main flower that we wanted to create. So let's start. So you can keep the perspective as per your choice. You can keep it little bit tilted towards right side or left side or towards downward side. So I'm keeping my flowers mostly towards left side, as you can see. So I have created an oval shape, and then around this oval shape I'm creating little bit of spikes. So this is the center part of the flower. Now let's talk about the petals, which is coming from the back. So you have a center part and then all the petals are coming from the back. So you need to create a round kind of shape like this, little bit smaller, little bit bigger, little bit overlapped like these, right? So we have smaller, then we have bigger, but couple of parts are not visible because of overlapping. So likewise, you can create multiple layers of petals. You can keep the petal edge little bit wavy, or you can keep it smooth like I'm doing. And then you can have little bit of folds around the petals. Because these flowers petals are coming from the back, we need a folded pattern in that way so that it should look like these petals are coming from the back. So you need to create a small triangle kind of pattern like these around the petal area that you have. So you can create two, one left side, one little bit right side, or you can create only one in the center, and you can automatically get these petals a little bit folded, and you are seeing the front side of the petal, which means the petal are coming from the back. Now let's do the same thing in our main sheet. So again, I'm going to create multiple layers like these. Couple of curves are smaller in size, couple of them are bigger in size. So accordingly, you can have your own kind of peony. You don't have to copy mine, but you can definitely have an idea from mine, or you can have an idea from your reference photo, and something like this you can do at the end. So I have created multiple layers of petals, and I also have added folded pattern around each and every petal that I have, so that I can see these petals are coming from the back and we are seeing the front side of the petal. So this is the one section. Now let's work on the bottom section. So you can have multiple layers. So I'm adding one more layer of petal, little bit smaller around the center part. Now you can create a curve like this at the base of your center part, and we're going to work in two layers. So in example, I can show you what kind of petals you need. So this is the center part, this is the curve. Now you can divide this into two parts because these are mostly towards the center part, right? And couple of them are towards outside as well. So we need to define these petals in a little bit proper way so that we can have visually effect of folded pattern. So you can create petals little bit wavy at the top, and then we don't need any folded pattern in these, especially when we are working on these smaller petal which is side and which is in the center, and all the petals are curved towards the center. I hope you understand what I'm saying. So either you can have little bit of folds into the petal area, especially for the left and right, but do not create any folded pattern for the center petals that we have. Now let's divide into two. So I have created one more curve, and from the inner curve you can create couple of petals touching the center part. Because of the petals we are not able to see the center part clearly, and we have multiple petals around that particular area, smaller in size, and all the petals are curved towards the center, and that is why we are not able to see the curly part of the petal like we are seeing for the back side petal. Now you can create side petals, and in the side petals if you want you can have little bit of folded pattern from the tip, but make sure you are creating these petals so that we can see the perspective in a better way. Now you can see we are seeing the center part, we are seeing the back petals as well, we are seeing the front petals as well, which is mostly towards the center part. So likewise you can create one layer of petals like these. Always try to do these things with the help of pencil so that you can have an opportunity to do little modification. Now I am creating couple of wavy petals at the top layer, and I also came into a symmetricity into my flower, right? And for the back petals you can have little bit of folded pattern as well, for sure. Now let's talk about this second layer of the bottom area. So for the second layer of the bottom area we need little bit tilted petals, but again a smaller in size. So all the petals are having wavy pattern but mostly tilted, so we have smaller petals and the visibility of petals are very less, and we are also seeing folded pattern into it. So create little bit tilted towards left side petal, little bit tilted towards right side petal, and have little bit of folds around it. The folds you can have anywhere. I'm keeping at the edge, very smaller in size. And we have covered the second layer as well, as you can see. Now we are seeing the peony flower in a better way. So let's do one thing. Let's trace everything with the help of pen so that we can have an idea what we are going through. And then we are going to do the bigger petals which is around the center part of the flower that we have. So now we have a very bushier structure. We have center part, we have back petals, we have front petals. These petals are smaller and medium in size, and then at the end we are going to work for the outer area which is bigger in size, and likewise you can create many more peonies flower like these. So let me trace everything quickly so that we can see the structure clearly, and then at the end I'm going to rub all the unwanted pencil mark. I want you to draw this particular flower with me, but whenever it comes to the tracing part and extra shading and detailing part, I usually repeat the same thing. And as you can see, I'm just tracing everything, not doing anything extra. So either you can take a pause and do it slowly and gradually, because I'm showing these things in a little speed way, so you might not able to match my speed, but it is totally fine. You can skip this particular part as well, and you can take all your time to do these tracing part. I am using size 08 needle pen, but you can use normal ball pen as well. I prefer you to use a simple paper and a pen and practice it a lot and create many more versions of this particular peony flower. I think that is something great as a part of exercise for this particular flower. Now we are done with the tracing part. Now let's do the outer area. So for the outer area we need bigger petals. So when it comes to the outer area, and you also know the peony flower do not have any specific definition of petals, right? So either you can create a wavy petals like these, you can have small curly pattern. Basically you need to create little extra structure inside the petal area around the edge, and then you can do some overlapping like I have created these two petals. Now I am creating one more, so we can see the center petal more visible and the side petals are little lesser. Couple of them are bigger, couple of them have more wavy pattern. The wavy pattern itself define your petal structure. So you can have any kind of shape and any kind of wavy pattern around the edge. And the outer area is the simplest one. So I have created one petal like this. I have added folded pattern from left and right, very small folded pattern. Then I am creating one more petal here. As you can see, the wavy pattern is little different compared to the first one. And then maybe I can create one more here. So again, this one is overlapped with the previous one. So you can create something like this. Again, you can have little bit folded pattern around the edge. And all the petal shapes are different and size is also different, as you can see. But trust me, I'm not following any reference photo. I don't have any reference photo, but I do have idea what kind of peony flower can look like. So try to use any reference photo, but you don't have to copy that reference photo. You can create your own version, dividing that particular peony flower into different sections like we did in this particular video, and then you can have a flower like this. So I have created something like this. You can create a stem at the base. You can have your own folded pattern. You can have your own petal shape and size. The only idea here to learn is start from the center, divide your flower into multiple sections. Make sure the petal perspective is important whenever it comes to the flower like peony flower, wherein we have multiple layers of petals into it. And this flower is little bit complex, but at the same time it does not have any defined structure, which is great, right? You can do your own version. And then trace everything quickly with the help of pen, and then we are going to do the next step. So I have traced everything. Now you can have little bit of leaves at the stem area. So basic agenda of this video is not to learn leaf, but to learn how we can draw a peony flower. So I'm not concentrating much on leaf area. So I'm simply creating couple of leaves. These leaves are serrated from the edge and little bit pointed kind of petals you can have. You can also have different perspective of leaves as well. And you can just take your time to do different perspective of leaves as well if you wanted to, but I'm keeping these things simple. So once done with the leaf area, again you can trace everything with the help of pen, and then we are going to do some contouring and hatching around the petal area and the leaf area to get little extra shade. So hatching means creating parallel line close to each other. The closer these lines are, the greater shade you will get. So whenever we are only interested in drawing, I think we should take an opportunity to use all these process of sketching like hatching and cross hatching. So hatching means creating parallel lines and cross hatching means creating cross line around the parallel line that you have created. So for all the folded pattern that we have around the petal area, I want that particular area a little darker as compared to the petal. So keep that area a little darker. For that you can do some cross hatching around that particular area. So take all your time to do this particular step for all the folded pattern that you have. I'm going to show you a couple of them and then I'm going to skip it. So take all your time to do it. And the reason behind doing it, we are only interested in drawing, right? So I think we should see that folded pattern more clearly, and that is why we are keeping that area a little darker. So once you are done with the folded pattern, you can do some hatching around the petal area, but I don't want to keep it too dark, so I'm going to keep it little lighter in shade. But before that, I want to do some cross hatching for the inner petals that we have to make it that area a little darker. But these things is totally optional. If you want, you can do it. If you don't want, don't do it. Now let's do some shading around the petal area. So for the petal area, I'm not going to do too much. So I'm creating lines as per petal perspective. So rather than creating a straight line, you can create little bit curvy lines like this, and then you can do more line around that particular area with very soft hand, so that you can have little darker shade, lighter shade, and then you can also have little texture around the petal area. So we need to repeat the same thing for all the petals that we have. And I'm also going to do little bit of cross hatching around this stem area to make this stem little darker. You can do the hatching and cross hatching around the leaf area. So I'm going to do little bit of lining and more detailing around the leaf area, but not too much, nothing fancy as such. And likewise you can draw different perspective of peony flower. So I'm hoping this video is helpful for you guys. And once done with your structure, you can utilize little bit of watercolor to paint the area. So for this particular video, as you have already seen in the initial part of the video, I have used watercolor randomly just to paint a little bit of petals with the help of purple color and green color for the leaf area. And this technique is called line and wash technique, wherein you defined everything and then you can use watercolor at the end. So I'm hoping this video is helpful for you guys, and thank you so much for watching.